Hi! Today I'm demonstrating a special card. Special because I designed it for my mom using the Stampin' Picture Perfect stamp set. She loves hummingbirds, and the hummingbirds that you can create with this are amazing. 4 shades of color, all with stamps. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Welcome to StampingSmiles.com. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 16 years I've been teaching others how to create their own hand stamped smiles. So getting the shades of color is really easy because Stampin' Up! Numbered the steps for us. Here's a closer view of the Picture Perfect stamp set. Wait until you see this hummingbird come together. It's just remarkable. And then the rose. I used just one color with the 3 steps, and look at that gorgeous shading. And then of course we have a starfish, something for the guys. And we'll also be using the Helping Me Grow stamp set. Both of these are from the 2016-2000 Stampin' Up! Catalog, and they're retiring. They're guaranteed available only through May 22nd, 2017, and that date is fast approaching. After that, they'll be available through May 31st if supplies last. So you'll want to get over after watching the video to my online store to pick these up, and that's www.shopwithshelley.com. So let's start with a Picture Perfect stamp set, and I want to show you how Stampin' Up! Made this really easy for us. They labeled the steps and how we're going to do them. So we're going to start with number 1. Okay, and this is what I've always told myself to remember that when I'm doing what we call the 2-step stamping. The image that takes the most ink, so I look at that and say that's the darkest image, gets the lightest color. So we're going to start with Wild Wasabi. So I'll show you what I mean. So we've got the Wild Wasabi Classic Stampin' Pad. We're going to push, flip, and lock that lid into place. I'm going to be using Wild Wasabi for 2 of the steps. So for the first one, I'm going to lighten the ink with a technique we call stamping off. So I've got some Whisper White cardstock and my beautiful hummingbird. So let's go ahead and ink him up. Okay, so I want this ink a little bit lighter, so we're going to just come on some scrap paper, stamp. Okay, oh, look, isn't that gorgeous? And that's just the first step. And let's stamp. Now, what's going to make this really easy, besides them numbering it, you see that little arrow on there? We're absolutely going to follow that. It's going to make the placement so much easier. So I'm going to set that aside for now, but out of reach so I don't go into the wrong color. The second step, according to this, is the throat. Okay, so for that I'm going to use Rich Razzleberry Classic Stampin' Padding. Push, flip, there we go. And we're going to, again, pay attention to that arrow. And we're going to use this full strength. So we're going to come in and fill in right here. Okay, and so when I keep that arrow going the same way, it makes it a lot easier. Look at that. Isn't that remarkable? All right, we're done with Rich Razzleberry. So to close that, pull in that lip, flip, and make sure you click to know that it's closed. Then it won't dry out on you. So the third step, we have this stamp. And this is going to give us more detail. And so we're going to do it full strength. We won't be stamping off any of the ink. So again with Wild Wasabi. And I have to say, the colors here are Master Gardener Mother approved. She loves her hummingbirds and has some pictures of hummingbirds that so I was following those colors, and these just work out so well. So I'm lining that up, and again looking at that arrow. And with it being photopolymer, I can see through where I'm stamping. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my goodness, goodness, goodness. Okay, so we're done with Wild Wasabi. Let's go ahead and put that away. And then for our last step, we're going to use black. Now, whenever I'm using black with my photopolymer stamps, and I don't need a watercolor, my ink of choice is the Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad because it doesn't stain the stamps. Okay? All right, so this is a smaller pad, so let's turn this over. Give this a good inking. There we go. All right, let me put that over. Hey, go ahead with these. You know, the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, they naturally store themselves upside down, and that keeps the ink to the top. Well, with these, when I store mine, I go ahead and turn it over. So just a quick tip. Okay, so we've got this all inked. So now, again, we're going to look at that arrow. And look through our photopolymer stamp. Trying so hard not to put my head in the camera where I'd like to. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I am just so crazy about this stamp set. So what I want to do for my card is go ahead and trim this. And I have my paper snips. Love my paper snips. They just make it really easy to do this cutting. And so I'm going to go around the outside and I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border. It depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I like to cut right up to the image, and sometimes I like to leave that white border, and it's going to work out really well for our card, leaving that white border. So let me finish that up, and then we're going to grab the Big Shot. Isn't he beautiful? And look how stunning against the rich Razzleberry cardstock. Now, we know this is a male bird because he's so colorful. And so my mom was showing me pictures. The female was all green. So if you wanted to do two of them, a male and a female, the neck, do that also in Wild Wasabi. Okay, so I liked it on here, but I really wanted a circle. So that's why we've got the Big Shot die cutting machine. And we'll be using the layering circle framelits dies, the largest one. And so we need to build our sandwich. We're going to start with the Big Shot platform. And then because we're using that thin metal die, we need the thin die adapter. And then a cutting pad. Okay, so all three of these pieces, plus the top cutting pad we'll use in just a moment, come with the purchase of a Big Shot. And our rich Razzleberry cardstock. And this largest. Now there's a lip on here. Put that down. That's the cutting side, so we're going to put that down. You could also use the magnetic platform, but because I wasn't cutting out something that I had already stamped, I didn't need to be terribly precise. I just needed to stay on the piece of cardstock, and then another cutting pad. We'll go ahead and crank this through. And love, love, love my Big Shot and the perfect circles we can get. Our hummingbird looks really good on our circle, but I wanted to do a little bit more to it. So what I decided to do is use this stamp, You Are Made of Wonderful, that's included in the Picture Perfect stamp set, and we're going to stamp it all over the rich Razzleberry circle. And tone on tone is one of my favorite looks. So again, with the rich Razzleberry classic Stampin' Pad. So here's what we're going to do. Let's ink this up, and we want this to look seamless. So we're purposely going off the edge. For that one, I start in the center. And we'll come down and start filling that in, but not by keeping it in the center every time. So it looks more random. There we go. And then you have to come back in and fill off. And so let's come over here a little bit off. Isn't that cool? It's a really cool look, easy to do. It's been a while since we've been in the center, so we can come back there. And so it looks like we cut this out of just one big piece of paper that had this stamped on it. And that's because we made it look seamless going off the edge. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's go ahead and put this away. Click, did you hear it? All right, and so beautiful on here. You know, I love Stampin Dimensionals. These foam adhesive dots really dress this up by making him stand up. So let's get 3 of those. Let's put one on the wing. One right here. Whoops. I want to go towards it. Not quite as close to the edge. I don't want to be able to see it. There we go. And then one right here. All right. If they're already popped up like that one is, it peels off. But if they aren't, take your thumbnail and just press down. And it makes that backing pop up so it's easier to get off. There we go. So let's place him on here. I really like when part of the image goes off of the die cut. I want his beak over here a little bit more, so let's do a little bit more rotating. There we go. Liking that. All right, so now we need to decorate our background, and I chose Wild Wasabi. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to give him some flowers, and so we're going to use the flowers. These are from the Helping Me Grow stamp set. Now, sometimes with a photopolymer stamp set, I just need to use the Stampin Pierce Mat. I get a better image. So let's bring back this piece of scrap paper because we're going to be going off the edge. Okay, so here is my Wild Wasabi cardstock, the stamp, and tone on tone. Again, for a background, fabulous. Now, my stamp is a little bit bigger than my block, but I know I don't need the whole thing, so I'm okay with that. It's just easier to hold on to a smaller block. Let's give this a really good inking. Okay. And I want to be able to see the flower. Okay, so I don't want to come over here because my circle, I wouldn't see much of the flower. So I'm coming over here off that edge to fill in this corner. Let's press. Let's just give it a good, that's a big stamp. So let's just press everywhere. Oh, isn't that fantastic? So I want to do some fill in over here. So let's go ahead and ink this up again. Allergy season. Okay. And so again, we want to place this where we know we'll be able to see some of the flower. And so this curved one coming in. Let's go ahead right here. There we go. And press. Oh, isn't that sharp? All right, so let's put our circle on here. Oh, very, very nice. So then I wanted to do something along the bottom. I didn't want to use rich raspberry because we had that right there. Really considered black. It was an option. But then I thought, well, what if I just put another layer of the wild wasabi? I didn't want to leave this cardstock plain, and so I thought, ooh, some embossed stripes would be pretty. So what I did was I grabbed my Simply Scored scoring tool. Okay, so whenever you're running a stylus over your cardstock, there are two things you can do to make it a lot easier. One is either grab some wax paper and rub over it, or if I don't feel like getting up and it's small like this, just my fingers do a really good job. There seems to be enough oil in my hands to do that. So let's put this in the corner. Now, with the stylus that comes with your Simply Scored scoring tool, there are two different balls on the end. I'm wanting to make a statement, so I'm going to use the larger one. So, and then I was thinking, oh, wainscoting would be pretty. So I'm going to come in at 1/4 inch. And I'm pressing hard because I really want a good embossed image. Okay, so now instead of going right next to it, well, let's go right next to it, I'm sorry. All right, so I've got the two lines right next to it, and I could continue on that, but instead I'm going to skip and do one. Okay, skip and do another, and then do this one right next to it. So I want to keep repeating that pattern. So what I've got going on here are, well, let's do one more. So we'll skip two. Said that good. So I've got a really cool pattern going on here. 2, 1, 2, 1, and then when you're done, it looks really, really cool. Okay, so let me show you the finished card. Here's what I did. Isn't that pretty along the bottom? It's subtle, but it adds a lot to it. And then to cover up that seam, because I have that wild wasabi on this this piece, I just used some of the solid basic black baker's twine. Isn't that sharp? And then put it on a base of basic black. Black is just a great neutral color that adds a lot of elegance. And I have one very special card for my mom. If you'd like to make my picture perfect card, all the supplies are listed under the video and available to order in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. But remember, the picture perfect stamp set is retiring. It's guaranteed available only through May 22nd, 2017. After that, it'll be available through May 31st, 2017. If supplies last. So get on over now to my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. I'm Shelley Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.